Hey everybody, welcome to Raleigh, North Carolina. My whole ship with me, the one and only, the gorgeous, the illustrious, Beef Mommy, purple hair on all. How you doing?
Excuse me, what an intro. You should say the same for yourself.
Never.
The beautiful I hold shift. Alan, this has been an absolutely amazing weekend. I already know there's going to be a lot of things packed up for today, but obviously the biggest one, the Code Showcase.
Oh my goodness, we've got all things Call of Duty and, well, a lot of excitement in the mobile world about what's going to be happening with Call of Duty Warzone Mobile, and we've got the Code Showcase, like you mentioned, all the way throughout the day. Stations all over the place. We had armed forces veterans and active military across both the United States and the UK, which is all what this Code Bowl is about, trying to help veterans find high-quality careers by supporting those groups and preparing them for the job market and raising awareness and the value that vets bring to the workplace. And how about this? For this Code Showcase, we're pairing them up with some of the best and biggest influencers across both mobile and regular Warzone.
This blows my mind because when we're playing the game, yes, we usually like to go straight into the action, right? But these are people that actually seen action. So I'm really impressed that I heard from a little birdie that they did so well in their matchup.
Hey man, we saw it all across the weekend. There's surprises and upsets across every form of it. So who knows what to expect for our creators versus these armed veterans. Not necessarily that they're armed in the building. We're safer than that.
Yeah.
But the thing is the hype. All the build-up about what we're going to get from Warzone Mobile, and now doing it with the Call of Duty Warzone Mobile Showcase. Couldn't be more pumped. The fly-ins, the intros, it's going to feel really, I think, nostalgic for a lot of the creators that were kind of made their careers off of regular Warzone. Just comes down to how do they handle it on phones.
Speaking of nostalgia, I know a lot of the players who played Verdansk in PC have a little bit of a blast from the past here from Call of Duty Warzone Mobile, knowing very well that this is a favored map, and you get to drop in just right there on your little phone. But hey, we get to see it right here. As we drop in, quite literally, a lot of these players have a lot to play with. It just depends on what kind of gameplay you want to play, strategy-wise.
Yeah.
Do you want to be aggressive, or do you want to play a little bit more passive?
And I think the cool thing about seeing Verdansk be relived now in the mobile space is that your drop-in locations can give you that initial reaction. Do you want to drop hot? Try to see if you can just find a weapon and completely frag out. You have to feel like some of our creators are going to want to do that. But at the same point, with everyone that's kind of getting their thumbs on it for the first time, maybe it is just better. Let's just make sure we've got ourselves a setup before we get crazy.
Absolutely. For me, one of my favorite drop zones would have to be Boneyard because of how many loot boxes that you can actually get, and also the contracts. But I get kind of shaky because I'm not usually a BR player, so I'm usually paired up with someone who's really good. And like what we kind of see here, a lot of the mobile content creators definitely have a step up when it comes to playing this game because obviously they've had so many chances to play it already. But hey, the vets know how to play as well.
True that. And on screen right now, we started with the Coast Guard Gaming, but we're going to take a look over at what I believe is the Air Force Gaming Squad. And again, these guys had a chance to play up against each other on the big stage, not only in this kind of mobile space, but they've kind of gotten the chance to get to know each other across multiple facets. And they've gone into what has been, I think, one of the most popular locations. They're right at the shopping center. They're saying, let's go ahead, get to Superstore, see if we can find a way to get as many kills as possible.
Yeah, get that shopping cart, get a lot of those weapons, the hot drops, and get those kills. And there you go. Speaking of, a lot of red dots on the map right now. It is going to be the player number 2 getting a lot of these kills. I mean, Noah Sunday, he's known to be really good when it comes to Call of Duty in general, and now in Warzone Mobile, he's absolutely shredding.
At least he's able to find the kills in this environment. We always have to meme on him just a little bit, but yeah, we do expect Noah to have a pretty solid one. The Royal Air Force Esports team now on screen as well. Again, like we mentioned, this Call of Duty endowment spans not just the United States Armed Forces, but also to the UK. So it's really cool to see them kind of taking the trip over, having a chance to experience the event in person, and most obviously getting a chance to get their fingers on it. And a good start so far. We have to kind of keep in mind that this whole thing is 3 drops worth of who can accumulate the most total kills. So I think seeing people dropping over towards Superstore, it's going to be pretty common, just wanting to make sure they can tally up as many eliminations as possible.
And yeah, and this is a kill race, so you really need to get those frags. I'm not surprised that all of these players, all these teams are dropping into high quality maps there where you need to get a lot of high tier loot to just get those kills on. Now speaking of, Ducky getting a lot of these kills as well, and looking like he's shredding very early on into the matchup, but obviously everyone else in his team is actually doing a really good job with Ducky getting a lot of cash.
Yeah, really well done. And that's the other part that kind of everyone's been familiar with, like Warzone 2, the kind of meta changes a little bit, but back when you get into the regular Warzone, get that cash, get your loadout, put yourself in the best position possible to get all the extra tools you possibly can find to make sure this is the easiest lobby that you could possibly make it. So we jump over towards kind of the terminal area just outside, and we're with the British Army all of a sudden, as they're in a pretty solid position as well. Aerith is the content creator that's helping them out.
Oh, that's my girl Aerith. She slays not only in multiplayer but also in Battle Royale. And now she's hot and ready to drop here in Call of Duty Warzone Mobile and already having a lot of money. So that's going to be really important for her because she can definitely frag out. That is without a doubt. But everyone else, Gibbo and Scotty, needs to frag out as well, getting as much money. But there you go, beautiful kill from Aerith. And without a doubt, one of the best female players of Call of Duty.
Yeah, and maybe it's history, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she's not to be slept on in any form, but those are some really clean shots at range. Would have been difficult for me to do on a controller or even on mouse and keyboard, let alone my fingers on a phone. I mean, I don't know if you actually seen me play mobile, but trust me, that you'd be giggling.
I'm a good friend. I won't rat you out. He's so good
Appreciate
when it comes
that.
to mobile games.
Fake gas, we love that. Back over towards military base as we jump back on board with the U.S. Coast Guard. And JoeWo, I believe, is their pro that's kind of helping them out. And he's, trust me when I tell you that, yes, that is 100% one of the big content creators that you're going to want. He's known for his time in Verdansk being one of the kill heaviest players in the 2 years that we had seen Verdansk in the regular Warzone 1 before we got Warzone 2 in the mix. And, you know, it's funny because we're watching some of these guys that come from the traditional multiplayer or from Warzone and into mobile across different other events that we've seen, they actually do really well. I guess it doesn't really make much of a sense on if you're playing on mouse, keyboard, or phone. These guys just know how to have fun, do well.
I just feel like it's just so natural for you to transition from either a console, PC, and going into Warzone Mobile. I feel like for me as a previous console player, Warzone Mobile, which is so easy to play. And now, I feel like we get to see all of these mobile players just have an absolutely amazing time. But obviously, every single one of the teammates right now of British Army Esports as well, doing an amazing job at getting a lot of the cash money and also getting those kills.
Yeah, looking solid so far. And it's in an area that, you know, when we go back and we think about some of the strategies that, it is in particular these pros and content creators that had come from the traditional Warzone scene, getting from point of interest to point of interest. That's how you want to try to maximize that kill potential as you continue to go, and that seems to be the case right there. You know, if you find yourself over towards Terminal and Airport, you've probably already hit Superstore. You may have come from Storage Town. You may have gone to your favorite by getting over towards Boneyard. So, you know, it's one of those things that maybe some of those old strategies are starting to spark back up again for this event.
I can already tell, like, the search bar for Warzone Mobile tips and tricks are definitely, like, for Verdansk especially, is definitely making a comeback here in Warzone Mobile, and I'm really excited to see it. So much nostalgia, and I'm really glad that all these players and all these vets just came together and played it really well. But hey, then again, we're taking a look at Noah Sunday. Every time we go to this guy, he just absolutely shreds it.
I feel like he's getting all this kills with pistols as well. I don't know what that's all about, but hey, Noah, you do what you gotta do, brother. If you take a look, the circle, again, is starting to make a move. You have to keep in mind that the circle moves at a different timing in mobile than it does from if you're familiar towards the PC version or console version. So have to always kind of keep in mind on how those rotations are going to work. And for the side of the Royal Navy, they are forced to kind of move deeper and deeper in towards this more hectic area. This Storage Town position now leading in towards Superstore could provide a lot of these rotations. And hey, how about sniping at long range, trying to pick apart a couple of kills?
My goodness, the game looks so good
It
from
really
the last
does.
time that I played it back in London. You already know that we had a really big event for Warzone Mobile, and now it looks playable. We should just release it already at this point because I want to get my hands on it. But hey, taking a look at all of the gameplay so far, Ducky looking like he needs to get a lot more of these kills. Looks like they're really good for possibly locking down a lot of the streaks that they could get, like UAV, get that cluster down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How about this? Another feature, again, if you played the mobile Battle Royale in the past, you kind of are familiar with what Blackout looked like, but all of the different extras that come with Warzone are also in play. So the jailbreak that's coming out, you're already seeing the kill totals. Those are the top 6 eliminations. But everyone that's been faced in the gulag right back in the mix, and that number of players in the lobby is going to exponentially or increasingly start to come back to play.
we get to see a little bit of slowing down. Oh, finally, we get to have a little bit of break. But as I said that, I take it back. He was just hiding there in the corner, but he knew he was gonna get turned on. Really great situational awareness from this player, and I really love to see that. And for me, I really like the pace when it comes to playing, because I thought in mobile things can get a little bit too crazy, but so far I really like it.
Yeah, that's been the big conversation point for everyone that's been kind of talking about the addition, you know, going from the blackout on COD Mobile VR and now all of a sudden seeing Warzone is the increased number of players. And so far, I mean, we've seen a couple of high kill tallies come through with still a lot of this lobby to play with. So it looks like the action's pretty constant from start, maybe even to finish.
And also the fact that it has its own unique traits, like really just comparing it for Warzone from the past, and now we have this new Warzone Mobile, and also Warzone 2.0. It definitely has unique traits. And Big Bertha, my goodness, just ramming everyone over, gets another kill.
Look
Assassins.
Look
at this guy. He's so proud of himself. My goodness.
Dude, Lucky is by far one of the most fun people to watch play Warzone generally, but when he's having fun like this, just wiping out teams by running them over, oh boy. And now he's getting to his homies saying, hey, get in, let's go find the next place. And it's actually going to be a convoy of vehicles here. And dude, you can see, look at the smile on his face, man. Talking about having a little bit of fun as they start to ram at each other, little bumper cars of Bertha.
Oh man, Lucky. Obviously his team's going to be Marine Corps Gaming, and I wonder, I'm really curious, like what the tally is now, because I know we're gonna have a really big surprise later on who's actually gonna be winning it, but so far, Noah's team's actually gonna be looking so good, but obviously we saw a lot of Ducky the Gamer as well.
Yeah, I mean, 8 kills for Noah. Does he even get that many in multiplayer games?
Nah, barely.
The funny thing is, like, I don't really know Noah that well. I just know that everyone memes on him, so I take that as a chance to do it myself.
He's a living meme, don't worry about it.
Fair enough. Yeah, just kind of sitting outside Superstore. More kills getting tallied up as it's R&E Fred. Okay, another one at long range. And, you know, the crazy thing about it, and this still blows my mind to this day, is like, I am more regularly affiliating with the player on the other side of that scope. Where it's just like, okay, I gotta turn, gotta shoot. But these guys are absolutely cracked when it comes to being able to quickly reposition, bring up the scope, pull it down, find a way to get the shots to land. And how about this? How did Noah make this happen?
Literally right in front of him, and he just takes it. The car is in such an awkward situation, but as you can see over here, the circle's closing in, and now, it's a good thing he has a self-revive. That's going to be a really big deal, but Gibbo is going to be in a really big pickle as well. Scotty's going to be the only person that can go and help him, as they're still trying to get inside the zone. So close, but no cigar. He's crawling to safety. Very close. Only one player from Aerith's team is actually able to go and get a lot of these kills.
Looks like they're going to be okay, though, I think. Just barely snuck there, but very fortunate to find that self-revive, because otherwise may not have happened. Tough gunfight here. Kill still comes out, though. It's a full team wipe. Not a lot of expression. I think that's JoeWo we had there from it. Lucky is still trying to run players over. Does he realize this is a kill race? Like, how? He's got 19 kills.
The first time we saw his smile wiped off of his face.
You see? Quick reaction, and actually the whole team is down, but self-revive may allow them to get back in. I was just about to say, this circle gets too small, and you could just get completely exploded off the map, but it looks like they're going to be just fine, if only barely.
What an interesting position to revive your teammate, but hey, for a second there, I thought they were in big trouble, but cover is on the way as he's going to be plating up. He's going to be able to revive his teammates, so still, Lucky, very lucky that his teammates are surrounded.
And they're looking good to not just secure the win here in this particular lobby, but also find a pretty hefty number of eliminations. I mean, Lucky, we saw him kill probably, like 7-8 players with the overall vehicle play that he was putting together, but there was only one more player to capitalize on in their lobby, and he had 19 in total, so a really strong start for LuckyChamu. Little knockdown here as we're getting close to the end of our first drop for most of our players. Important to note that they are just playing in public lobbies here. They're not playing up against one another necessarily.
Yeah, it is a kill race, and it's going to be so hard if they actually play up against each other. That will probably be a long game because it's going to be more strategic. But obviously the strategy here is just to get as much cash, as much better weapons as you can, and just charge at every single one, anything that moves, basically. Yeah. And now as the circle closes, obviously, you need to battle the circle, but also a lot of the players that are a little bit more skilled because they've reached that very essential point.
Yep. Final moments for a lot of our squads here. Again, just as a reminder, 3 total drops. There's the Warzone victory for Aerith and company, so they did make it through, even though there was a moment of some staggering crawling going on, but they work it out, no problem. And
so Aerith with a really big dub, and I know they got a lot of kills, and they were very close to actually not making it. Too close for comfort.
Self-revives. They come in clutch more often than not. Trust me, as someone who often drops away from his team, it comes in more than clutch sometimes, it feels like. But hey, a lot of wins across some of the players that we had seen kind of in that first block. And again, cumulative total kills. So Lucky, a little bit of a demolition derby for him, finding 19 total kills, maybe a couple more near the final circle. They're looking like they're going to be in a really good spot, but like you mentioned, Aerith did have a handful of kills herself, so maybe a couple of early favorites for us here.
Yeah, I mean, Noah also seemed to be like with the pistol. Exactly, just like, you know what, this guy's just showing off at this point, showing everyone that he's not a bot and not to be, you know, messed around with. So really good first round for a lot of these teams, but obviously we have 3 rounds in total. 1 down, 2 more to go. There's definitely a lot more moments for them to go and catch up.
And now I'm curious to see with some of the other, you know, players that are jumping in here from the Call of Duty Endowment, are they going to change up where they want to drop just because they want to see more of the map now all of a sudden? Because yes, there is still the capitulation of you want to be in a spot to find the most total kills, but depending on how the plane kind of comes over the top, it's just like anything else that we've ever seen in VR. You may need to change your drop position depending on where the density of the players are going to be going to.
Yeah, good point. Like the gods of RNG, is it going to be in your favor? Well, if you've played VR enough, you definitely have enough strategies to go in and probably play differently. But hey, everyone's dropping off. That's a really good circle, I can say.
Yeah,
in Superstore storage, that's going to be absolutely packed.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, I'm so surprised. I remember the first time that I dropped into a map of Warzone, seeing the names like floating over the POI. It's like, oh, that's a really cool addition. Still cool to see it in the mobile version as well, because I always thought that that was a really like high intensity, like graphical thing to do. But man, a really good look at it here in mobile. And well,
Here we go
are
again.
we surprised?
At this point, I'm going to be more surprised if he's out of that ban. So backing up very casually, but again, a lot of points already to be won for his team. And at this point, I'm really surprised that some of these teams are actually going on into the outskirts, because you really need to be, you need to basically hurry up when it comes to those kills early on, because it is a kill race and we're already at halfway point where all of those single kills matter.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the early eliminations don't just get you the ability to, you know, bolster up your kill count, but extra cash, better weapons, all of those things come hand in hand. Good read coming through here. A little tap, tap, tap away, no worries. We have the Royal Air Force on our screens for now. And the cool thing about this is, you know, the interface for those that maybe played Warzone initially is actually almost the exact copy-paste of what you're getting here. You've got your lobby status, your kill status, and all the teams that are left still at the top left-hand side. Minimap's still in a really convenient position. So, like, the game's going to feel very familiar. The only thing that's different is how you're moving around the map with your fingers, really.
And you brought up a really good point. Is like every time we go to a different player, it's a different HUD, and
Yeah,
that's what I
that's
like
true.
about
Good point.
mobile. It's so, I feel like it's so natural when it comes to my sense of play style, and now the fact that you get to see different things. But hey, speaking of different things, we get to see a really good sign from this team, getting a lot of shredding. It's Godzly getting that beautiful double piece, and again, really big kills for his team, Royal Air Force Esports.
You expect Godzly in a VR title would probably do pretty well, considering his background, so I'm sure that they're happy to have it. Lucky, does he want to try to play the game with a weapon? I mean, I say weapon, I guess technically you can classify a weapon as anything that packs damage, and so he has literally turned the vehicles of Warzone into his main vessel of damage. As he says, okay, maybe I need to come out here, has the MP5. This will feel very familiar for him, considering the early metas of Warzone initially. And his teammates even in the kill feed doing the same thing. So, hey, maybe this is actually a strategy for the Marine Corps gaming squad. Get into vehicles and just run people over. That's the fastest way to kill people.
I already know the thumbnail to his video when this releases. I got the most truck kills in Call of Duty Warzone Mobile. Yes.
Casual clickbait.
I know, right? And speaking of casual kills, taking a look at that, they're just absolutely shredding this part of the map, and now Godzly probably having 5 kills.
He's got another one down in front of him, so that's the other kind of cool thing about this. For those that are familiar towards that Warzone idea is, hey, team wipes will be pretty easily registered because of knocks versus actual full kills. Another feature of Warzone seeing its way in, the fire sale coming through, so find a buy station and literally buy everything.
It's on sale. Go get it. 10% off
Some of it's
your
free.
first UAV.
Yes.
Buy one, get one free. But here we go. Actually, they have to free themselves in this situation because I feel like they need to move in really quickly as the circle's going to be closing in a little bit soon. And if you are on the outskirts, yeah, the plays usually you're going to be playing catch up. You're going to be a little bit more safe. But hey, take a look at that.
Chamu is actually in the same lobby as Aerith and the British Army team.
Ooh.
So this is one of those things that can happen every now and again. And we see this in kill races where everyone's queuing up kind of together. Sometimes you do get into the same lobby as your opponent. So you got to keep in mind towards the overall format, that's going to be a big punish towards Aerith and Co. trying to capitalize on kills, not only because you're down and out at the moment, but more importantly, you've got another team that's also trying to find as many kills as possible.
They need to have a precision airstrike because the amount of trucks that they're going to be, being greeted with is going to be 3, and it's going to be coming right at you. So again, that's going to be really good. And for now, Godzly yet again gets a lot more and finally repositions themselves outside the TV station. And they did, I feel like they qualified. I mean, they quantified a lot of kills in TV station, and now they're finally going in for the move.
It feels like no one knows in these lobbies what to do about these trucks at the moment. And outside of them getting RPG'd at the end of their last game, and then luckily still staying alive, this has just been... Chamu is just innovating how to play the game at the moment. This almost reminds me of like helicopter strategies of old.
That was like the slowest kill of my life. I feel like that just hit one
Oh,
more.
no.
He's not even going in full
Oh,
speed. They're
no.
basically just running into his truck.
Goodness. Okay, puts it away for a moment.
Nope.
Can't chase him down. Zone's still moving, so you definitely will need to be using it to still use the main purpose of the vehicle, which is to go from place to place. Nice long-range shots from Godzly here as well. Again, you kind of expect to see it with his prowess. And yeah, very clean. Very, very clean stuff. That gets him to 10 total kills. Still 31 total players alive. And that means, of course, as this circle gets tighter and tighter, I mean, you can see the UAV popped right now. There are players all around him.
Oh, that's actually one thing for me as a player of Warzone Mobile. There is every time we try to make a point, we just go back to Lucky, and he just runs over everyone. What happened to that body? It just flicked out of nowhere. But yeah, he's finally using this gun. But one thing to note about the guns here in Warzone Mobile is the fact that the recoil is really hard to control. And so for Noah to actually, Godzly rather, to spray from that long is really impressive spray control.
Yeah, not this bullet. Even coming through right now, Godzly would help out his teammate who had just been knocked. Plenty of time to pick him right back up. Revive will be there, no problem. And as the second circle in this lobby starts to come to a bit of a close, they will have to rotate just a little bit. But again, all the UI pieces that you want, like you mentioned, the HUD you can kind of change around. But seeing that, hey, all right, no worries. The difference in minimap size is another big kind of point. But seeing this all be ported over into the mobile space has been fine. And that's the only counter to see Lucky is, hey, just get in the air, get away from his ground havoc.
Can I just say, every time that we see Lucky, you know what song plays in my head? Dun, dun. It's like Tokyo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, you expect me to recognize
I
the song?
was about to sing it, but hey, I'm just like, hey, we might be copyright. I don't want that to happen to our team. But yeah, basically, he's just driving that thing, just very fast, very furious, wanting to get a lot of kills. And it's going to be an 18 right there. That unfortunate soul that's about to be rammed.
Is he going to win this whole thing by running players over with a vehicle? Because if that's the case, maybe I can hang in Warzone Mobile.
Respect.
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do to win, and he's having a lot of fun. I mean, out of everyone, he's the most like.
He's been the most smiley.
Exactly.
Can't blame him. Godzly knocked here. Precision airstrike that may have just came through. He does have one teammate that has a self-revive, so a chance to still keep the team in the mix. This would be a very heartbreaking time to go out in this second lobby, mind you. Maddie, little dolphin dive right into cover. He's 1 HP as well. So still players to fight up against. Stuns and flashes coming through, but for the moment, we stick with the guy that's having the most fun. I think we can actually say that now. Just the ragdoll effects, everything. It's beautiful.
It's like whoever can actually edit that part of the video where this team's having the biggest struggle in the round so far, up to Lucky, where he's just having rainbows and sunshines. But finally, we get to see a revival. That's going to be really a good deal, and especially they can finally run into the zone. They are close enough, so signs of life coming in from them.
And it looks like JoeWo has lost one of his teammates here, so it is just 2 versus the rest of the lobby. 8 other players are still around, so a chance to turn 19 kills into the 20s pretty quickly. Waiting for him to jump on in. You got to be careful again. This looks almost a little bit familiar because the truck is starting to smoke a little bit. Last thing you need with only 2 players left is to get blown up once again. It's getting close to the end of this second lobby for most of these teams. Godzly, Maddie still up. Welsher right back in the mix, and yep. Oh, it's Aerith again. She got out of the gulag, but still faced her demise by Lucky in this very deadly birthday.
I feel like Aerith's games are always just so scrappy, and she just cannot catch a break, especially with the hands of Big Bertha. But as the circle is going to be closing down, we're going to see an absolute showdown up against Lucky and Godzly, where Godzly almost got taken down. And now with this, it's actually going to be really hard. It could be a whole wipe with this vehicle just smoking just moments after it's dead.
If it works, it works. Full team for Godzly back into the mix here for Royal Air Force Esports. And look, all the players wide out in the open. The shots are clean.
Oh, man.
I mean, come on.
Recoil control.
Just unbelievable. Great hit markers come out. There's the knock. You imagine he plays for the next knock, and that's actually the full team wipe as well. So it's a little 2-for-1 special. And yeah, he's going to try to win this game by way of the Bertha. This may just work. Oh, careful.
Oh my gosh. Although the lifespan of this truck is going to be, I think it's reaching its maximum point. You can see the black smoke already. With but 22 kills, he used it to its very life's edge. And now he's going to be parked all the way up. And oh my gosh, how did he put it all the way up there? Oh, he needs to go out. It's still alive, never mind.
And this is the rest of Aerith's team. That's Scotty from British Army Esports that has been taken down by way of JoeWo. So you're in a situation where it's another 3v1. Actually, pardon me, it's a 2v2 here because, again, it's just Ian and Lucky by themselves. But a tough position to get up. He still wants to try to get the truck up the ramp. Tight turns, does get there. Lots of spam, but still, it's Aerith again. She can't catch a break. Last player, that's a full team wipe and a Warzone Mobile and a fist pump because why not?
You know what? I never thought that you could actually fit a vehicle of that size inside a building like that.
Well,
up to the 2nd floor.
We're learning a lot today.
Yeah, I'm taking notes. Okay.
But hey, that's another back-to-back game with Lucky getting close to, if not over 20 eliminations. Right. Marine Corps Gaming could be near the top of the overall leaderboard with one more drop to go.
Anything can happen, as a lot of these teams. Actually, Godzly also got a lot of kills.
Sure
I wasn't
did,
able to keep track as to how much, but I want to surprise myself later on into game number 3. But hey, a lot of things going on here. The Call of Duty Endowment, a lot of really good situations, funny situations, but hey, really entertaining.
That's the last thing we want, is to not have fun with all this. So love to see it. We're ready for lobby drop number 3, the final one here for the Call of Duty Mobile Warzone Code Showcase. The cinematics play, the players are locked in. It's JoeWo and the Coast Guard Gaming group that's going to be dropping in with us here. And I will tell you, just from previous experience, you have to know that Joe's sitting there and saying one word: Superstore. Guy loved it back then. I imagine he's going to try to want to get there as much as possible in mobile.
And I'm pretty sure he's not the only one that's going to drop into Superstore. And let's see how well he can actually fare here in Call of Duty Warzone Mobile. Pretty sure a lot of flashbacks. And look at that. A lot of players already going into this. Oh, it's Stadium that he's going to go into.
You know, I'm really curious because when we were watching the evolution of the first instance of Warzone, the dynamic changes towards the map as it went on. It kind of had like a story piece theme where the stadium started like that and then the roof was off and then it got blown into bits. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how the mobile team tries to handle the map and how dynamic it was during the regular game versus now it being in the mobile form.
There was that one team that went into the outskirts. Well, they're going to have to push in really aggressively later on because the circle might not be in your favor. Yep. But yes, you're going to have your life. You're going to play it safe, but you are in round number 3 where you need to pick up the pace, especially when you're down when it comes to the points.
Yeah, 100%. Back over to the Royal Air Force as they look pretty comfortable at the moment, just kind of hanging out, making sure they get the loot that they want. Over towards Joe, opening first blood. This is over towards the military base side of the map. Well done. That's his actual first, I believe, full elimination that we've seen up until this point. Back over to the Royal Air Force. No kills really to speak of yet for Godzly. You assume that will change, and yeah, he's on the hunt already. Shots still just as clean as you'd like. Quick break, quick knock, quick teamwork.
Ah, yes, a quick team wipe for them. That's going to be really impressive. Coast Guard Gaming, led by Joe. So, again, pretty interesting KDs that they actually have. And for me, they have one of the most balanced ones where they have 2.42, 2.52. Really interesting to see. So I feel like they're more of a balanced team, but let's see if they can actually be a little bit more aggressive and get a lot of those kills. But we're taking a look at Royal Air Force right now. And we saw them a while ago, and Godzly yet again, knowing how to spray this weapon. All you have to do is just tap, tap, tap.
You know, it's really funny too, kind of looking at some of the history of some of the players that we have, because, you know, when they were kind of giving us all their information, most of them are coming from familiarity with controllers. So have they set their keys up in a particular way that allows them to still feel like they're using the same fingers to make the same actions happen? And for the most part, we're kind of getting that. I mean, you usually like to see the players that kind of play off claw grip, stuff like that. You got the fire button up near the top. You can kind of isolate your fingers a little bit. And that seems to be mostly the case. So just really kind of curious to see how everyone kind of prefers to do their layout. And one of the cool things I would say, again, just talking about the customization that comes with mobile.
Honestly, for me, as a console player before, I feel like it's more natural that I transition into a mobile game.
Sure.
I feel like mouse and keyboard is a tiny bit harder because it's just so different when it comes to the movement. But hey, to each your own, and I'm definitely sure that a lot of these gamers are really adaptive people. And now, speaking of really adaptive, we have a squad wipe from Godzly. That's going to be really big for them.
Yep, 4 kills early on in this last drop for Godzly. And this drop over towards Stadium for the Royal Navy, I don't know how fruitful it's been for them when it comes to total eliminations, because as much as it looks like a central point of interest, it's like, oh, everyone's going to go here. The area itself is kind of weird to navigate because it's multi-level. There's an interior, there's an exterior. It kind of feels like you have to play around the stadium rather than kind of in it. And obviously with it being as large as it is, sometimes it's hard to find players.
Yeah, that's one kind of big caveat when it comes to a stadium, is the fact that you have to search for a lot of these players. There's a lot of close range engagements that you're just going to be surprised that there's going to be people right around the corner. But speaking of something that's quite opposite from what we just talked about, we're looking at the outskirts right now. This is where Ducky is going to be at. They're going to be a little bit more careful, but they're still finding a lot of these kills.
Yeah, not bad considering. I mean, you're absolutely right. There's not a lot over here. It's mostly just trying to battle towards the mountain itself, but the zone is forcing them in that location. So that's kind of another point where you're going to be getting a lot of mobile gamers that are very good, have a lot of experience playing maybe the regular multiplayer, that want to just go out and completely out-frag the entire lobby. Knowing how the circle's going to move is either going to be a great successful point where it's like, okay, we put ourselves in the best position to find the most players, or you find yourself late on rotation and you're in the middle of nowhere like we're seeing right here.
And you always have to play that catch-up. So those two players, good luck, and hopefully don't get killed by the zone. But we are looking at Royal Air Force Esports yet again, where it's going to be honestly, every time you look at them, they've been shredding it, especially with Godsly just leading them in the pack. But they are going to be tracked. No, actually, that's going to be Joe's team. Coast Guard Gaming is going to be tracked. That's going to be a lot of pressure for them.
Trying to get the loadout. A little contest going on. Shots not quite landing. Finally, they were able to connect. They talk about the bounce. And, you know, that's the other thing for a lot of the players that are coming from the traditional Warzone. You know, you get the ability to kit out every little bit of your loadout. And mostly that is resolved towards no recoil, high damage. But when you're finding weapons off the ground here, you're not going to have those same benefits that you may have been used to in regular Warzone.
And speaking of your loadout and just finding the unique type of gun for you, I'm really excited for when we get to do that here in Warzone Mobile. Because if you've been a player for Warzone, you already know that gunsmith is going to be a big thing. And so when they implement it here, it's going to be huge. And speaking of, crossplay is going to be a big thing.
Yeah.
If you're at home, you can play Warzone 2.0, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And if you're on the road, you play Warzone Mobile. Whatever progress you have over there is going to be saved into the other game. So really big stuff coming in from Call of Duty.
Really cool features for sure. Godzly now up to 7 eliminations and is right alongside another team that's trying to rotate with him and his squad. So Royal Air Force, again, just every time we swap over to them, tons of eliminations coming their way. Over towards the Navy, though, this time. Long-range shots connecting, but the zone is putting a little bit of pressure on this. Armor plates come back in. And I will say, you know, one of the things I was most curious about seeing Warzone get ported into the mobile scene was how quickly could players finesse their inventory. And so far we've seen a lot of really good motion where it's swapping weapons, putting in armor plates, or maybe even changing out what utility they have in their back pocket.
Honestly, something that you should just get used to. Like for me, the first time I played this game, game, I had a hard time kind of like picking up all the weapons just because of being used to it in PC where you have such a big screen, but here you just have to tap everything. But it's just really, you need to adjust very well. But speaking of a team that has been adjusting really well, now it's going to be Godzly. They've been playing outside of the zone, and that's going to be good positioning for them because they're going to be outside of the hill. As all the fights are coming in here, they're going to be getting a lot of the scraps.
Godzly was in a little bit of trouble there. Armor was broken, but able to break line of sight and then force the engagement up close and personal, swapping the M4 into the MP5. That works out nice. Royal Navy back on your screens. And this is an interesting position because you look at the minimap here at the top, they're going to have to continue to go further and further north, and obviously the big obstacle in front of them are all these switchbacks up and down the mountains before you get up towards the military base area. So finding kills on this rotation, you don't expect them, but you love and have it. And over to Coast Guard Gaming once again. Jailbreak is imminent here, and they're actually pretty late on. Oh, actually, they're going to finish off the game before the jailbreak fully comes in, so they're going to get their victory. And at that point, with the game being that limited, the jailbreak wasn't going to provide very much.
Yeah, it's a very tight situation to be in. But oh, look at the points that Godzly actually had a while ago. That's going to be as we switch over to the kill feed. Ducky and Godzly have an equal amount of kills on their side. So I feel like, I don't know, it's really close when it comes to their kill count.
Hey, the UK boys coming to play. Royal Navy, Royal Air Force, still up, still alive, still looking to feast off whatever kills they can find here. And you have to think that it's going to be pretty darn close. I mean, can anyone keep up with Lucky and his antics that he was pulling with the Bertha? That, I think, is the first question. But on top of that, with these two teams, it's going back and forth between them with still some healthy lobbies. There's a chance to where, who knows, these could be some of our favorites. Still 20 total players left in the Royal Air Force game.
Well, Royal Air Force Esports, so far, so good. We got Maddie, Calzone, Welsh Raspberry. I'm getting really hungry, and my name's Beef Mommy. Every time I see a food IGN, I just get so happy. It looks like they're having a really fun time here. Yes, they're getting the slays, but what's important that they're actually going to be having a really swell time. But obviously, we're doing everything. We're casting this. All of this event is actually happening because we have a really good community here in Call of Duty, and also our partners. And Downrank has placed more than 100,000 veterans into high-quality jobs. That's more than half the size of the U.S. Marine Corps or also the British military. And this makes us one of the world's largest funders of veteran employment.
No, it's always cool to see organizations and groups that come together in support of veterans, and thanking players for their service is one part of it. But being able to do that, that's just something special. So again, final moments coming through. The Royal Air Force still trying to find as many kills as possible. It's them, the three of them, versus 2 remaining players. 11 total kills. I don't know. Is it going to be enough? Because every time we swap back over to Navy and this kind of back and forth, it looks like they're kind of outpacing them in the total kill progress. We'll have to come to see. But I imagine it's going to be a really tight leaderboard here.
This is hard because Godzly's like all the way outside of the circle where you see a lot of the players already are positioned down. So this is the part of the map where you need to kind of charge into the inside of the zone. But obviously they're going to be trying to use a lot of their money in through a lot more of these airstrikes. But hey, I kind of want them to get that precision airstrike because if you want to stop any vehicle coming at you, especially at a really, open space like this, that's going to be huge.
There it is. The final kill there for the Air Force. They should secure their Warzone victory. So now we stick with the Navy. Hard to say exactly the total kills that they've been able to accumulate, but it's been good every time we've watched over towards them. And it was also, just for what it's worth, really cool watching Ducky kind of interact with the shop as well, seeing that, again, the surface that we're looking at is much wider and greater than they're playing off of, but them being able to see things like purchase complete, stuff like that, I'm sure there's a really great confirmation to make sure that you're interacting the way that you want. And hey, the Warzone victory, both arms up, little flex out of Ducky. And as we see it, actually, we're getting the information that Royal Navy has actually taken the overall kills, so they're going to be our champions here for the Call of Duty Mobile Warzone Code Showcase.
I'm not surprised because Ducky has been known to be one of the best BR players on mobile. So he has dabbled a lot on Call of Duty, and for now, it looks like Warzone Mobile, he's starting early. But hey, it's not just him, it's everyone in his team as well. He has Fred, he has Duffy, Tree, Jedi Beats, Parky 3000. Really amazing stuff that we've seen here so far.
Massive congratulations to him. And what a show they provided, because I'm not going to lie to you, if you would have told me after game 1 that Lucky wasn't going to be able to just single-handedly win this thing without he was handling the Bertha, I would have called you a liar. But Teamwork makes the dream work, as the meme says, and that's good news for the Royal Navy. A lot of back and forth, but it's all in celebration, and we love to see it.
Honestly, a quick MVP check, like for you. Who do you think? Like,
I
think I already know who you're going to answer here, but what are the highlights of today's matchup?
Look, I took direct inspiration from the Bertha gameplay, okay? I might need it, I might be a crutch towards it, but the fact of the matter is, you could go around and do stuff like that and still have a great time. You don't necessarily have to drop in and be super serious the entire way through, and I think LuckyChamu told us that from start to finish.
Lucky, Ducky, and now it looks like I have to change my name to Beef Mucky. I tried so hard on that one. I'm so sorry. You can cut that out, director. You know, I'm just not gonna. I'm gonna spare you guys at home for the secondhand embarrassment. But hey, a really good showing what we had for today. And for me, I feel like the highlight. I mean, I feel like Godzly did a really good job at handling the weapons because it's so hard to kind of describe how it is. If you haven't played the game yet, please do download it now because you can definitely find ways into playing the game early on to just really showcase how much the game has improved so much throughout the months.
I can't wait to get my hands on it. I think a lot of these creators are going to sit there and say, let me in at this point in time. So a lot of fun here from Raleigh. Hope you guys enjoyed the code showcase, and we'll catch you guys hopefully on game before too long. Have a good one.